Morning. I'm with one of my favourite people in the world, Julie Fouad. Good morning, Julie. How are you?
Good morning. I'm really good, thank you, Angela, and it's always lovely to see you, as you know. A
It,
few years after we first met, but yes.
well, this is the thing. That was my LinkedIn post. You didn't see it this morning. I walked into Blue Arrow 34 and a bit years ago saying, can I have a job that's not sales, please? I've been doing 2 years of sales, commission only. And I was like, I'm done with that. Julie luckily knew better. Because Julie was that recruitment consultant that interviewed me, put me onto the manager, the branch manager, the area manager, the regional manager. 7 hours later, and I got to work with the wonderful Julie for a few years. Actually, it was amazing. But we're here to hear all about your life story. This is My Life in Recruitment series. We've got 5 people coming up this week for you. If you didn't see the first one, we'll get the link in there to the updates on YouTube. Greg Savage was always a laugh. Picking up from there, I asked him about his tip and he went, "Don't drink so much." Was his first reaction that came out. But we're going to find out your hints and tips. We're going to find out the good, bad, the ugly of recruitment in your life. But first and foremost, we know how I got into it now, but how did you get into recruitment, Julie?
Okay, in a nutshell, I'll because you know me, I can. Why tell a story in a sentence when you can say it in about 15 paragraphs? I know we've only got 15 minutes, but I fell into recruitment like most people do. And I was a show jumper prior to that. I wanted to be a professional show jumper. I had a string of 7 horses. I was riding for people professionally. And then I got a pair of dodgy knees in my early 20s that needed surgery. And after a lot of soul searching, I decided to stop riding. So my then other half was reading the newspaper, because obviously those were things we did in those days before telephone, mobile phones and everything. And he saw this advert for Blue Arrow in Milton Keynes for either a perm or a temp recruitment consultant. And he said, "Oh, you'd be really good at that. You're gobby." And that was exactly what he said. "You're gobby." And so that was a great start, wasn't it? That in order for you to be a recruitment consultant, you've got to be gobby, which
Well, I'm going to take it as a positive, as you can talk to anyone.
Exactly, that's how I took it. So went for an interview. I wanted to, hadn't really got a clue about recruitment. Saw the then branch manager called Lorraine Ratcliffe. She moved to Australia, I think, a few years back. But she asked me to sell a pen to her. And I just laughed and said, "Well, if you want a pen, you want it. If you don't, you don't." And she thought that was good enough to take me on. Obviously, I've learned a bit more since then about selling myself. Yes, went in, temp consultant, started off, as a perm consultant, moved on to temps, moved branches, moved through the business, and 14 years with Blue Arrow, as you know. By the end of that, I was running the perm division for the whole of the UK. And I had an amazing team working with me of 6 of the top performers from within the business that didn't want to be managers, but wanted to go out there and be able to influence other people within the business. And we were the A team, as you remember, Angela. We were, absolutely kicking it. And then
We have that now, because that was such a driving force of our perm business. Having those people that knew exactly what they were doing, supporting and developing all the perm consultants within the UK. And what was there, 75 branches at that point?
Yeah, it was just done. I think it was about 80 branches actually at that time, and we had about 170 recruiters, and the team looked after regions, and so we ran a perm development training course. Then after that, there was a follow-on, which is where we went out to the branches and we worked with the individuals in person. We went on client visits with them. We did sales calls with them. And the business went from, it was 600,000, 6.4 million, not 600,000, 6.4 million the year that we started the support. And halfway through the following year, we were averaging £1.4 million a month in the business. So it was a big return on investment for them. But then, like a lot, you know, and this I suppose comes into a little bit the ugly, like a lot of very large corporates at that time, they were bought out by another company. Blue Arrow was bought out, and the company that came in decided to take out a whole line of leadership, and it included the perm team. So I joined Adecco and spent 5 years with Adecco regional and around the home counties. Was a knowledge expert for their perm business as well, really, because obviously I really enjoyed the perm side of things as well, and then have worked also for Pertemps. And then when I was working with Pertemps at the age of 44, I got pregnant with my lovely daughter. Some people did it the right way round. I did it an interesting way, and so decided that going up and down the country and working long hours and being away from home all the time was not going to be conducive. So I then decided I'd need to settle down a bit, and that was really where I changed from working with corporates and the large national businesses to more small, you know, SMEs, small 1-2 branch, you know, 4, 5, 6 branch businesses. And I did more freelancing at that time because people wanted me to support them. They'd seen what I'd done with other businesses, and they'd asked me to do some work with them. And it sort of became a bit of a career choice, really, where I could work around my daughter. And then, you know, it got to 2012 was when I moved into a healthcare business in Milton Keynes, and they were going from off framework to on framework. I think probably lots of people that are in healthcare recruitment remember that the NHS changed from being very, you know, off framework to on framework. You had to be on the frameworks to be able to supply, or that was what people believed, though that wasn't necessarily the case and still isn't. So I joined that business, and 14 months later we were on all the frameworks and we sold it to Pertemps.
So full circle then.
Circle back to Pertemps again, and there was already a CEO in the business, so they didn't need a CEO. So I found myself free from recruitment and for a while, and I was asked by one of the ladies that was outside the school, who said, "You're never outside the school. Why are you outside the school?" to what I was doing. And when I told her that I was having a career break, she said, "Oh, no, you're not. You need to come and run our equine team, veterinary team." So I went in for 6 months to go and sort out the team, which was really interesting because there was lots of interesting things going on. I don't want to go into too much detail, but let's just say everyone was shouting at everyone. The systems didn't work, the processes didn't work, and it was heaven for me because I could just see what needed to be done. And 4 years later, I had to give it up because I started working with IMS.
Yes. So this is where you are now, IMS People, and again, you've been there sort of 8 years or so. I'm so glad that you got to go back to the horses. And actually, this is why I love this series. I've known you all this time. I never knew you were a show jumper. And do we still have horses at that point? Maybe we just got rid of Impshy at that point. But yeah, I didn't realise we had a horse connection in there as well. My other company, the logo is a horse's head.
I did notice that. And I've got a picture of me, but I'd have to stand up and go and get it because it's just there. But a picture of me show jumping. So yeah, on my Palomino.
Wonderful.
Yes. So I don't want to bore everybody because there'll be lots of people on this call that go, "Oh, horses, ooh," but
So you getting into recruitment then, again, a necessity, falling into it, not necessarily the plan, but I mean, all these years later, and now you're having an impact globally. With the team that you've got. So let's talk about the good, the bad and the ugly, because the new company is probably going to come into that, hopefully on the good. What would you say is the good about our industry?
The good about our industry is there's no real barrier to entry, is my view, and that has some bad for some people, but overall, there's no barrier to entry. So you can be whatever you want to be, and you can take it as far as you want to take it. There are lots of really great entrepreneurial people in the recruitment industry. And so it doesn't matter whether you're a graduate, you're not a graduate, if you have got a dream, a drive, a passion, and you love working with people, because that's quite an essential part of it, I think, then yeah, it's a great industry. And I really have no gripes. Life throws a few curveballs at you from time to time. And I've had my fair share of them. Some occasionally you get a bad boss who isn't supportive, or has their own agenda and is not interested in the people around them. There's always going to be that in any industry. But overall, I have to say I've worked with some of the most amazing people. It's a privilege to come in every day and being able to change people's lives. And that's not just that is genuinely why, 36 years later, I'm still working with recruitment. And the difference for me now is that I get to work, instead of working within a recruitment company, I now get to work with over 200 recruitment companies in the UK and APAC, because obviously that's my region, and some Europe. I was talking to a lovely German recruiter only last Friday, and I get the best of every single world, because I get to work strategically with these companies. I get to see them grow. That 3 of our top 10 clients in IMS started with just 2 headcount. And they are now in our top 10 out of over 270 in total recruitment companies.
Hundreds of headcounts then, isn't it?
So, yeah, and we're 3,500 people working for recruitment companies across the globe. It's such a privilege, and I think, having been in recruitment for so long, being able to make the change where I actually could be, because I love the strategic side of things. We were taught very early on in Blue Arrow about having a vision, having a clear plan to achieve that outcome that you're looking for. And I've always lived with that mantra. And so, I've always been very strategic. And so I just get, you can tell I'm enthused by it. I just get to work with the best people doing the best job. And, somebody said to me the other day, have you ever thought about retirement? And I said, do you know what? No. And I don't see myself retiring anytime soon, because I love what I do, love the people I work with, love my India team so much. 9 years later, 9 years I've been with them.
That's gone quickly, isn't it? But that's the thing. I mean, we're in decades, and it just goes so quick. If you enjoy it, it does fly by. What do they say? Yeah. So time flies when you're having fun. So you tapped on the bad a little bit there with the managers. What about the ugly? Can you think of anything of it's really about our industry?
No, I mean, I think, they're always going to be, I think one of the things that I've year on year happens is that we do tend to sometimes be a bit boom bust. So it's a candidate driven market. We're all running over there and focusing on candidates. Then it's a client driven market. We're running it. So you see this yo-yo effect quite a lot. I think in recent years, it has improved, because the 360 recruiter has become more, has separated out more to candidate drive and client focus. So, there has been a lot more segregation of the 360 recruitment model. And that has helped to put more focus and emphasis on both at the same time, both the client side and the candidate side of things. But I still find that the majority of the recruiters that I speak to, their candidate databases are not helping them. They're still their Achilles heel. And even after all these years, you'd think that we'd learn that if you've got a database, it's only going to work if you put the best quality data in and you get it to work, to work for you, rather than, I still talk to companies who will say, I need people to find me candidates. And the majority of those are from LinkedIn. And yet they have a database of 20,000-30,000 candidates. So, that's probably not, it's not ugly, but it's probably, one of those constant niggles that comes up time and time again that I think, well, at some point we should learn. But
this was our week last week, because Firefish are our wonderful sponsors of the Daily Workout, and they took over last week, and it was about that engagement. And their stat showed that 80% of those candidates were already on the database from
they are. The funniest thing is that we provide people to recruiters to actually do sourcing for them, and we also source from their database. And almost every candidate with the large recruitment companies is on their database already, or they're 1 degree separation from someone that is. And that's the thing. Is there's always from one candidate you can get 10, 15 more. And I think that that has been a revelation really for the recruitment industry to really put the emphasis on candidate focus, account management, and be more strategic on the with your people, your client side of things, is kind of where the business has really started to move, and I think that that's a real positive, and more niche, focus rather than generalist. It's very, very difficult to work generalist very well. So I think that I'm seeing a lot more niche. But no, you can't get me to say ugly, because to be honest with you, I really don't see anything ugly about.
You're such a positive person as well. There's no good there. I see we've got some comments in there, and people saying hello. But I've just realised Alan Clark was a perm consultant, and he's trying to work out whether
Frost. Alan's asking about Frost. Do you remember front office system that was? And actually, Penny Pocknell. Is a name from the past. Yeah. She actually was in my office in Oxford, and she created Frost with the IT team, and we were the blue users of Frost. So
thank you, because that took 6 months to gather all the information. What did we need? So this was our CRM system in Blue Arrow. We got to name it. We had a back office system that did all the processing. So there was a competition to name the new computer system, 1994, I want to say. So as computers were coming in, I don't know who won the competition, but Frost was the name. But I started talking to my clients about Frost, and they were like, well, put your heating on then. They had no idea what we were talking about. Again, another thing, when you're explaining to your clients what you do, make sure it's obvious, because they won't always realise. Okay, my last question to you, and we clip this, and we turn this into a series on YouTube. So the 5 ideas this week will all come together. So my question to you then, Julie, is what would be your top piece of advice for anyone new joining the industry now?
Top piece? Okay,
yeah, can I only have one?
I can only have one. Make sure you join an organisation that puts emphasis on training and developing their people. Because the best foundation, I had the best foundation in Blue Arrow. I have no complaints about the training. It was incredible. So find an organisation that really cares about developing its people. Stick with it, and don't expect to get anything given to you. Work hard for it, visualise it, and make sure that everybody knows what you want, and you keep asking them what you need to do to get it.
Yes, that's so key, because there's all these people that hide their light under a bushel. They're amazing.
I did.
At it.
6 months into Blue Arrow, I thought, God, you know what? I'm going to be a branch manager in 3 years here, and that's what I set my stall on. And I thought, I'm beating everyone. I'm doing all of this. I was doing an amazing job. I was making sure I was out there. But I never asked for it. And when I said to my boss, I said, well, you've promoted this person over here, but you didn't promote. Well, you didn't ask for it. Well, that was after there, everybody knew what I wanted, because I never stopped asking. And so those would be my top tips. And get yourself a mentor, always have at least one mentor. I've got 3 mentors. They're all very different, and they all challenge me in different ways, and never stop learning. So, I never stop learning. I never shut up either. So sorry, Angela. You know what you have to do? You just go through.
You've done really well, because we say 15 to 20 minutes and we're 19 minutes in. That's perfect. You've done brilliantly this morning. Oh, it's been so lovely. What a great way to start our week. So, Julie Fouad, thank you so much for sharing your life in recruitment, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great week, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow morning with Helen Harvey. So do come and join us there. Another person Alan will know. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, bye, bye.